We're ready.
Okay. All right, I want to welcome everyone to the City Treasurer Intern Program. It's a 4-week program, and I certainly this is the largest class that we've had before, and we're going to have a really good time here, learning about how your city government, local city government represent you, and we have basically 7 elected officials. We have 4 council members. We have a mayor, and we have a city treasurer and the city clerk, and because I'm the city treasurer, and basically what I do is I oversee the investment for the city. So right now I oversee roughly about $290 million. So that's what I invest on behalf of the city. So it's not my job to earn the most amount of interest for the city, but to earn it as safely as I can. So basically that's the job of the city treasurer. So we're going to be talking about important investment terminology. What a bond is as opposed to a stock, what interest is, what coupon is, maturity, what interest rate is, and also we're going to be talking about the importance of saving while you're young, and also the importance of keeping a good credit score. Don't build up a lot of debt, because most of you will be getting out of high school, you'll be getting credit cards, so you want to make sure that you have a good credit rating. That's very, very important. And we're going to be talking about things of that nature also. So again, I certainly want to welcome everyone, and we're just going to go around the room here and have each of you introduce yourself. So you're just going to give your name, the name of the school that you attend, and also you're going to talk about what grade you're in, and also what you like to be in life. Okay, once you finish school, we're going to start right here with the first person.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Mariperla Arroyo. I'm in 10th grade, and I attend Inglewood High School. And what I would like to be when I grow up would be veterinarian.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Next person, you don't have to stand.
Okay. My name is Samuel Arroyo. I go to Crozier Middle School. I'm in 7th grade.
Look at the camera.
And when I grow up, I want to be a soccer player. So that's it.
Okay, we'll look out for you.
Alright, hi, my name is Joella. I go to Inglewood High School. I'm in 9th grade, and after I'm done with school, I would like to be a beautician.
That's it.
My name is Marquise Sykes. I'm in 12th grade. I attend Inglewood High School. And once I'm out of high school, I'd like to be a successful rap artist and producer.
All right.
My name is Christopher Gaines. I attend Morningside High School, and when I get out of high school, I want to be a computer engineer.
Oh, excellent.
My name is Lawrence Johnson. I attend Warren Lane, and when I grow up, I want to be a music producer.
Outstanding.
My name is Maritza Escobar. I attend Inglewood High School. I am an 11th grade junior, and when I grow up, I want to be a counselor.
Hi, my name is Shavonda Johnson. I'm in 12th grade. I go to Morningside High School. When I grow up, I want to be an engineer.
Oh, excellent, both of you.
I'm Dylan Wiggins, and I attend Vista Academy Middle School, and I would like to be a football player, basketball player.
My name is Evan Tibble Carter. I attend CCS Coast Christian School, and when I grow up, I would like to be a video game artist.
Outstanding.
Hi, my name is Joshua Nieves. I'm in 6th grade, and when I get out of school, I want to be in a band and play the guitar.
Oh, great. Okay. So we're gonna break a little bit and have lunch. But again, I just want to let our community know that these are the future of the future of our nature, of our nation. These are the ones that will be replacing us, in government and in other jobs as attorneys and doctors and lawyers, etc. But this is the future of America. This is the future of America. So we're going to break now and have lunch, and then we're going to get into the program. Now, who would like to bless the food before we eat?
I'll bless it.
Okay, here we go.
Bow your heads, people. Okay. Thank you, Lord, for the food you provide us, and hope we enjoy this program so we'll have a better, successful future, and give those who don't have any, and so we'll just enjoy. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Excellent. All right. Okay, I want you to take out the city treasurer's book. Okay. Now we have here the table of content, which is the very first page. Let's turn to that. So these are some of the subjects we're going to be talking about, and we're going to be visiting roughly about 5 or 6 departments also. But this is kind of like the orientation for the first time. So the very first page, we talk about the table of contents, which is the program objective, which is primarily to give you an overview of city government, how city government work, you know, how your local elected officials represent you, and what do each of their offices represent. So we're going to go over that today. Now I want to go over some of the things that I want you to read for sure in the program. So if we'll go to we'll turn to this page. It says public bonds. So it looks like this. It's right after section number 4, where it says bond basics. It's number 4. It says bond basics, number 4. Okay? Now what you need to read for that is, you know, bond basics, what a bond is. So you want to, you know, write near there what a bond is. So write read for that one. What a bond is. And what are the main types of bonds? So write read for that. Okay, we got it? So you're going to write read what a bond is and what are the main types of bonds. And basically that's what I do as the city treasurer. I invest in bonds. And I buy bonds by the denomination of $1 million, no less than $1 million. And that's what I buy on behalf of the city. And so you want to know what a bond is. Anybody have any idea what a bond is as opposed to stock? Yes.
A bond is when you try to bail somebody out of jail.
That's like a bail bond. Yeah, see, that's like a bail bond. No, so a bond is it's a debt instrument. When you float or sell a bond, it's you're basically loaning money. So you're actually loaning money when you float or sell a bond. So it's a debt instrument, and there are all kinds of bonds. You see. Corporation issues or float bonds, and the reason why do you think a corporation might sell bonds? They might sell bonds because they want to raise money. Sometimes they want to expand their operations, or they want to modernize their operation, or they may need the money, you see, just for operations. So that's why they might want to sell bonds. So cities sell bonds also. So cities might sell bonds because they might want to do some major street repair, or they may want to do some other improvements, you see, for the city, or they may want to make other improvements, you see, for the city itself. So the city sells bonds also, and also we have Treasury that also sells bonds. So bonds are sold by corporations, they're sold by cities, they're sold by states, and they are also sold by the U.S. Treasury. So that's what a bond is. A bond, again, is a debt instrument. It's like an IOU. So you're actually loaning someone money whenever you float or sell a bond. Okay. Now, how do you think stock might differ from a bond? Any idea? You know what a stock is? Who issues stocks? Yes.
Markets, like a stock market.
Like corporations, you see, like General Motors, you see, they issue stocks now, as opposed to a bond. A bond is a debt instrument, so stock is, of course, that's equity, or you have ownership, you see, in the organization when you sell stock, as opposed to a bond. So that's the basic difference between the two. Here we have a new person in the class, and he just arrived here. So why don't you just introduce yourself and say your name and what school you're from, and also what you like to be when you finish school.
My name is Brian. I go to Inglewood High School. I'm a freshman, and I want to be a doctor when I grow up.
Outstanding. So what your favorite subject must be?
Science.
Okay, very good. Okay, now again, who can tell me what a bond is?
A loan?
That's right. You know, you're loaning money. You know, you're loaning money whenever bonds are issued. You're loaning money. And we talked about the 3 different kinds of bonds. It says there's a what? A corporate bond? Who issues corporate bonds? Companies like corporations, they issue bonds. They also sell stock also. But the primary difference between a stock and a bond is that, again, stock is you actually have ownership in the organization when you sell stock, as opposed to bond. You're actually loaning money whenever you issue a bond. So that's a basic difference between the two. Okay, we're going to talk about also what I want you to note in this particular section is who buys bonds. That's on the very next page. I want you to write read there. It's on the very next page. Who buys bonds? That's on the very next page. And on the last page that has to do with bonds, we're talking about what are some of the associated risks with bonds as opposed to stock. What do you think might be some of the risks with regards to bonds, or you're loaning someone some money? What might be a risk there? Yes.
That they could steal your money and never pay back.
Hey, that's very good. That's very, very good. You may not get paid back, so they have defaulted on the bond, you see. So what might be some of the risks with regards to stock?
Won't give you your stock back?
Well, of course, the stock might, it goes up and down. The price of the stock might be, say, $20 today. It may go down to, say, $10 another day. So it's going up and down, and of course, it could all go all the way down to zero. So you can actually lose all of your money, you see, with regards to stock. As opposed to bond, when you're a bondholder, they're going to settle with the bondholder before the stockholder. If there's any money left, the bondholders will be settled with before the stockholder. So, as opposed to being a stockholder, you see, you could actually lose everything. And have you been reading the papers at all when you've seen that so much money have been lost in different people's their 401ks, which is their retirement plans?
Like bankrupts?
Yeah, some of the retirement plans have gone way down because the market, you see, has gone down quite a lot, during the session. So some have lost an awful lot of money, you see, during this particular session. So you want to be sure that as you grow up and you invest your money, you want to make sure that it's diversified. What do you think diversified means? It means that you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket, or you don't want to have it all invested, you see, in one company. Because if that one company goes under, that means you have lost everything. Whereas if it's diversified among several companies, that you reduce your risk of exposure of losing. Okay? Okay, we're going to go now to section 5. We're just going to get a little quick overview here, then we're going to go into more depth next time. So the next section is the Treasurer's Report, which is number 5. And the Treasury Report looks something like this. It's just a report with a lot of numbers on it. And see, and this is how I've invested your tax dollars, as you can see. They're invested primarily in bonds. You see, as you can see, it's mostly bonds, a few CDs. You have any idea what a CD is? It's known as a certificate of deposit or a time deposit. Like you put money in the bank for, say, 6 months or 8 months. Or 9 months, you see. It's only in there for a certain limited amount of time. So this is how all of the money in the city is invested. Now this is only a partial Treasury Report, as you can see. Who can read that bottom number there? Yes, Tickwell? Mm-hmm. No, this number here. How much money is that?
1,500,000.
No, the bottom one. That last one.
75,587,781.
Very good. And you see the other number at the very bottom was its earnings for August of 2007. That's the amount of interest that was earned for just 1 month, which is $305,239. That was just one single month. And the year-to-date earnings, meaning the cumulative earnings, you see, is that next figure, which is $2,587,319. So that's how much money that that all of this investment has generated. It has generated $2,587,319 in total for the time that this money has been invested. And how do you suppose money how is the earnings generated? See, it's according to what? You see the various interests. See where it says coupon rate. That's the interest, you see, that each of these investment vehicles will pay. So interest is what's paid to what? To use money. Like you have money in the bank is going to pay you so much interest for your money being there, right? So that's the cost that they're paying you for the use of your money. So you may have your money in the bank that's earning, say, maybe 3.5% today, and they will loan your money out at, say, 12, 13%. But so they're able to make money off of your money. See, that's in the bank. But so money is not free. You see, so whenever money is invested, it's going to earn a certain amount of interest, and that's what each of these investment vehicles are earning. And it starts at 3.365% all the way down to 5.51%. That's how much money these dollars are generating. Okay, how many have savings accounts? And would you have any idea how much interest your savings account is earning?
Not really. I know it's like it has to keep the change daily, but I don't know the interest.
Mm-hmm. So you want to see how much money that the bank is paying you for your money, and you normally get your bank statement, right? So your bank statement will tell you how much interest that you have generated on your money. You don't want to have your money for free, right? So you want to see how much interest that your money is earning. Who else has a savings account? You have any idea how much interest? Yeah, look at your bank statement. It'll show you how much interest has been generated. You see, for your particular savings account. Right now, you're probably not more than perhaps somewhere between 2 and maybe 3.5%. But you are generating a certain amount of interest, you see, on your money, because whenever you go to the bank to borrow money, the bank is going to charge. The bank is going to charge a certain amount of interest to loan you the dollars, you see. And so when you put your dollars in the bank, you want to make sure that you have been compensated for the money that you put in the bank, because they are loaning your money out at a lot more interest than you're being given. So money is not free. So that's why we talked about the importance of, even when you finish school and you get your college degrees and you're in your career, you want to make sure that you keep good credit. And you keep good credit by doing what? Paying your bills on time. Paying your bills on time, because how do you suppose companies determine whether they're going to loan you any money? They're going to pull something known as your credit score. And your credit score will determine whether or not you get the loan or not. If your credit score is too low, you won't get the loan at all. So the credit score evaluates your credit worthiness. So that's why it's very important when you get out, you're going to get credit cards. It's going to be literally mailed to you, particularly once you're in college. So you don't want to charge these things up to the max and not be able to pay them off. Because every time you're late, that's a what? That's a ding against your credit. So when you get ready, you might want to go and buy a car. They're going to pull your credit report to see what your credit score is. So then credit scores will range anywhere depending on which credit agency they contact. There's basically 3 of them. Anyone have any idea what the credit agencies are? There's TransUnion, there's Equifax, and there's Experian. These are the credit agencies that different companies will contact to see whether or not you're a good risk or not. And so the credit scores will range anywhere from 501 to 990 for 2 of the credit agencies. So that means that you need to be at least in the 700s with them, 600, 700, depending on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to buy a car, probably about the 600s would be a decent credit score. But if you're trying to get a home, particularly in today's market, it needs to be a lot higher, perhaps in the even 800s, in order to qualify for the loan, depending on which credit agencies. Now, Equifax, their credit rating only goes up to 850. So generally with them, a credit score of 720, 730 to 750 is a good credit score. So keep in mind, you don't want to get in debt, once you get out of school and get your job. You don't want to use credit cards to the max and ruin your credit, because it's going to follow you the rest of your life. You're going to get student loans while you're in school. Those student loans are going to cost. And when you get out of school, you want to make sure you do what? Pay those student loans back. And you'll probably be able to get those student loans at a very good low interest rate just to start with. But when you get out of school, you want to make sure you pay those student loans back. And you won't be able to get away, because they will be able to track you down. how do you think they'll be able to find where you are? Yes.
Social Security number?
Absolutely. When you get that, yes.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
My mama told me somebody stole my social security number.
See, that's known as what? Identity theft, and there's a lot of that going on. But that's how they will track you down is through your social security number. So she really need to look into that because
Will that affect my credit score?
well, you need to, of course, look into that because you need to find out what is happening for one thing, whether or not they're using it to charge things to and that sort of thing. So it could be quite a hassle if someone should steal your identity and use your your social security number to rack up debt. You see, to charge things, to get cars, you see, or to charge furniture, or different things too. So you will make sure that you keep a good, healthy credit score. But that's how you will be tracked down is through your social security number. When you get that next job, you're going to fill out a job application, and then you're going to put your social security number down. And that's how you will ultimately get caught when normally the company files their quarterly tax returns. So the thing is, that once you get the loan, pay it back, once you get out. Because student loans kind of help you get through college. I use student loans myself in order to try to get through school. So you're going to need student loans. Okay. Any questions on the treasury report? Okay. We're going to look real briefly at the next document, which is, it says bond investment. That's number 6. And basically, this document here is just what I send to the bank whenever I have bought a bond on behalf of the city or the city's redevelopment agency. This is just notifying the bank that I bought this bond for X amount of dollars, and don't pay for this bond unless you receive the bond itself. And normally it's just a book entry. So that's just a confirmation that I send to the bank. Okay. And we just go on to the next page, which is number 7, very quickly. Number 7. Thank you. And this is just simply schedule of investments. Now these are just a partial list of all of the bonds that I have bought, on behalf of the city. So this is just a partial listing of the bonds. And again, what's a bond? Again.
When you get a loan.
That's right. You're literally loaning money whenever you buy a bond, but when you issue a bond, of course, you're selling the bond. You're an issuer. Okay. Now, let's go on to the next page, which is the investment policy. Now, basically, the investment policy is nothing more than just, and you don't have to read this, but you do need to know just the very first paragraph, which it says investment policy, the purpose of the investment policy. You will need to know that. And the purpose of the investment policy is it simply provides the rules and guidelines that's utilized to invest the city dollars. It's just the rules that's used. So that's all you need to know there. But I provided the entire policy there that you can peruse on your own. But you just need to know that very first paragraph only. And the next is section number 9, and that's on an ordinance and resolution. These are council actions, the city council actions, and the mayor. There's 4 city council members and the action. So we're gonna discuss this next week, but that's number 9. And you'll need to know the difference between an ordinance and a resolution. And we'll have someone read that. If it's one to volunteer, we'll have a new person read that, what an ordinance is. Mm-hmm. An ordinance is
an act of law duly enacted by the city council. Ordinance are the highest form of city
action.
City action require certain formal steps for adoption, such as when the city intends to pass a regulatory treasure, like Inglewood Municipal Code.
Municipal Code.
especially when it provides a penalty of violations to what did you say?
Two rulings are usually required for adoption.
For adoption, and ordinance usually become effective
in 30 days. Okay. Following the adoption. Okay, we'll have someone else read what a resolution is. So basically, the ordinance is duly enacted by the city council, and the important thing is the highest form of city action. Okay. Now let someone read what a resolution is. Yes.
A resolution, like an ordinance, is created as the result of a formal action of the city council. Unlike an ordinance, a resolution is usually effective immediately.
See, immediately, and the ordinance takes what? 30 days, right? Okay, it becomes effective 30 days after adoption. Okay.
Resolutions are used for acts of the city council which require a formal written record, such as authorization to expand city funds, to establish law. What law? Is that word new?
To establish laws, funds, or positions.
Authorize certain
Contractual arrangements.
and call elections.
Mm-hmm.
In general, a ordinance sets forth standards which apply throughout the community, whereas a resolution record an administrative action that applies to only one or a few situations. In many cases, state law dictates neither a specific action must be taken by means of an ordinance or resolution.
Okay, so one becomes effective. One is the highest form of what? Of city law, and the other is it takes 30 days, the ordinance does, before it becomes effective, and the other one becomes effective immediately, a resolution does. Okay. Next we have the rules of decorum, which is basically the rules that's generally utilized for conducting, for the audience that's appearing to the council to abide by. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
I know there's nothing there.
This is it here. Okay. The next is city departments, which is number 11. Now, what I want you to kind of be familiar with here is that be able to name at least 4 city departments and know what they represent. You see, we have all kinds of city departments. Here we have community development department, and it's explained later on in this body of information. And we have the library department. How many of you use our library? It's next door, okay? And Parks, Recs, and Community Service Department. How many came to the Arts Festival this past weekend that was held on Market? Anyone come to that? It was really nice. And then we have the Police Department. And we have Public Works Department, which take care of our streets and that sort of thing. And then we have the Office of the City Attorney. And we have our Finance Department. And we have the Personnel Department. And we have the Information Technology Communications Department. And we're going to be visiting that particular department. So that you can see that's a very interesting department. So just be familiar with at least 4 of these particular departments. Okay. Now next I want you to turn to the last page, which is 13. Okay, and then turn to the types of cities, which is this page. Okay, and we're just going to talk about this real briefly. Basically, there are only 2 kinds of cities. There's a charter city, and then there's a general law city. And Inglewood happens to be a charter city. So a charter city is one that had already been in existence in order to be a charter city. So we're going to talk about this next time. So basically know that there's 2 different kinds of cities, a charter city and a general law city. So be sure to note that you need to read this. Under charter city, just write read. And under general law city, and under general law city, write read. Okay. Now I want to take a look at your interest, introduction to interest that's in front of you. Looks like this. We talked briefly about interest. We said interest is what? If you really want to define interest, what is interest? Yes.
Interest is when you watch your money grow. It's like your money, you only have a little bit, and when you get older, you have more and more.
What's your comment regarding interest?
Interest is when you owe money, I think. It's somewhere else to get something else.
Oh. So basically, interest then is defined here as how much what? It says interest is how much is paid for what? The use of money. Remember, you said if you have your money in the bank is going to pay you so much money for the use of your money. Then the bank is going to loan the money out. So money has a cost, you see. So money has a cost. So you're going to get a certain amount of interest, for the money. For example, say you have $1,000 and you're going to be paid, say, 5% interest. So how much money? Say you're going to get that. So how much money would that be? Say you have $1,000 and you're going to get, say, 5% interest. Well, how much money would that be? Yes.
100.
5%. What's 5%? Oh, what's 5%? Yes.
$1,000.
500.
Yes.
$250.
Okay. Let's say yes.
50.
Of $100?
Oh, 100.
Of $1,000? Yes.
It is $100.
Okay, so you're looking at the example. If you have $1,000 and you're gonna get 5% interest, you're gonna get what?
$75. What, 1,000?
Well, if you have yes, 5% of $1,000, how much interest would that be for you?
200.
What about 50?
Yeah.
So you got to kind of think about the numbers. You see, if you only have $1,000, you're probably not gonna double that in just 1 year. See, 5% of just $1,000. See, your example here, we have what, $1,000. We have 10% was what, $100. So that's how much money that you're going to earn. You gotta pay back what, that $1,000 plus what, the $100. So you're going to pay back what, $1,100. And if it's only half of that, then it's going to be what, $50. Would be 5% of $1,000 would just be $50. You're going to earn $50 interest is what you will earn until you get $1,050. And so you're going to pay the $1,000 back plus the $50. Or if you have the money in the bank, your $1,000 will be preserved. Plus you're going to earn an additional $50 in interest. Okay, and that's just simply known as simple interest. So I want you to read this over very, very carefully. It's pretty, I think you'll understand it as you go over it. So interest is basically the cost of money. Money is not free. So whenever you borrow money, you're going to pay a cost. Whenever you charge money on these credit cards, you're going to pay a cost. Now the credit cards could go up as high as, some of them as high as 22, 23%. And keep in mind, and if you don't pay them off on a consistent basis and pay more than what's due on them, for example, you may borrow $5,000 and the minimum payment may be only $15. How long do you think it'll take you to pay that off? If you only send the minimum payment.
Like 8 months or 6.
It'll probably take you upwards to 12 to 13 years because you're only sending in the minimum amount, you see. You only send in the minimum amount. So what you have to do is always pay more, you see, than what's actually due. So if the minimum payment is only $15, you want to pay considerably more than that so that you can pay it off. Otherwise, you will be paying a tremendous amount of money, you see, in interest. For example, for those who say buy a home, if you actually, most of these mortgages, see, are 30-year mortgages. Say a home may be $500,000 is a 30-year mortgage. But if you actually stay in that home, you see, for the full 30 years, at the end of 30 years, you would have paid for that home at least 3.5 times over. So for that $500,000 home, you would have paid at least $1,500,000. And what is that difference? That's interest. You see, that's interest. But keep in mind, once you get into your own homes and you get your jobs and you buy a home, you want to try and remember to always send in an extra payment. If it's no more than $50 or $100, if you send in an extra $50 and an extra $100, you see, you're paying that's $50 or $100 less than you were borrowing, and you will be able to pay that mortgage off sooner. So kind of remember that. That's when you get in your own place. You get your car. You see, you want to try and send in more than what's actually due. That way, you save yourself the amount of interest that you're paying on the car. Say if you buy a car and the car costs $22,000, you're going to pay a considerable amount of interest. Your interest could be as much as almost maybe $15,000 because a contract. Who knows what a contract is? Yes.
There's something to verify that you did it, because you may get your car stolen or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say you have to sign a contract that says they're not reliable.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, the contract is when, of course, when you purchase the car. It's a legal document. When you have purchased the car, you're the owner of the car, and it's a binding document. You see, so you want to make sure that whenever you purchase a car, you want to try and pay in much more than you see that was actually due. So if your payments say maybe $280 a month, if you're able to send in an extra $30 and an extra $50, you're borrowing less money. You see, you're able to pay that car off sooner as opposed to sending only the minimum amount due. You'll be paying the full amount of interest. You see, if you're not able to pay it off sooner. Okay. So keep in mind, money costs. Money is not free. Money is not free. If you borrow money, you're going to pay interest, so it costs. Okay. Any questions so far on interest? Okay. Now we talked briefly about a couple of things. We talked about what a bond is, and we talked as what stock represents. And again, we said a bond is what again?
A loan.
Mm-hmm. You're actually borrowing money. As opposed to a stock is what? Yeah, you have ownership in the organization when you have stock. So one is debt and one is ownership. Okay, we talked about interest. What's interest again? That's the cost again of borrowing money. How many have ever heard about the rule of 72? Oh, great. What is the rule of 72?
Isn't it like a certain percentage that in amount of time, like of years, that in your savings account that you have in your bank, they double it up?
Absolutely. It tells you how long it will take money to double. So, example, if you're only getting 4% of interest, so how long would it take that money to double? Yes.
About 50, probably about 30 years.
You're doing what? You're dividing 4 into 72, and it goes how many times? 18 times, right? So, if you're 18 years old today, and it's $10,000 that you have invested, how old will you be before that money doubles?
36.
You'll be 36 years old. Now, let's assume that you're still 18 years old, but instead of 4%, say the money is going to earn 6%. So 6% goes into 72 how many times? 12 times. So instead of being 18, how old will you be when this $10,000 doubles?
20.
30.
Oh, yeah.
You'll be 30 years old, as opposed to 36. Okay, now let's assume that instead of 6%, the money is going to earn 9% of interest. So how long now will it take this money to double?
8 years.
What?
8 years.
8 years. So again, if you're 18, you will be how old?
26.
9 plus 18 is what?
27.
27. So now you're going to be just 27. See, if 4%, you're gonna be 36 years old before that $10,000 double. It'll be $20,000. If you're able to earn 6%, you're going to be 30 years old before it doubles. And if you're able to earn 9% of interest, and then you're only going to be, what, 27 years old. So as you can see, you're going to, under the 4% rule, before it doubles again, you will be how old?
72.
18 plus 36. Is that 54? Is that right? You're 54 years old and you have how much money?
30,000.
Remember, we started out with 10,000.
Oh, so
40,000.
Okay, we got 10,000 and it doubled here, right? So you got what, 20? And it doubled here, you got 40, right? And you're 54 years old. Now here at 18, it only, again, it takes how many years? 12 years, right? So you're how old now? 42, right? 30 plus 12, is that right? You're 42 years old here, and you have the $40,000, right? Now let's go down again. We got 40, so we got what? It's double again at 80, but at only 4%, you're how old now? 54 plus 18 is what? Is that 72?
Yes.
You're 72 years old. And you got $80,000, okay? Now, but here, at the 6%, you're 42, so let's double it again, and at 18 plus 42 is how much?
84. Wait, what?
So you're adding 18 to the bottom number, so how,
60.
is that 60? So you're 60 years old, and you got the what? $80,000. But here you're 27 plus 9, so you here what you're 36? 9 plus 27? You're 36 years old and you got the $40,000 instead of being 54 at when it's only earning 4%. And here's earning 6%, and you have 40,000 at 42. So if we add another 9 to 36, how old will you be then? Is that 45? At 45, you got what? $80,000. Here you're 72, you have $80,000. And over here you're 60 at $80,000. And here we see we can still go right ahead here. Let's add another level, and we have $160,000 here. And we add 18 plus the 72, you're how old?
18 plus 72.
Mm-hmm.
63.
90.
Is that 9? Can't be 63, so we start with 72.
Oh.
Okay, so see, we're adding 18 to the bottom number each time.
Oh, I thought we were in the middle.
No, we're here. Oh, you're going ahead of us. Okay, so 18 plus 72 is how much?
90.
So now you're 90 years old, and you got 160,000. So here, if we add another, well, here we're doing what? 12, right? So we're what, 72?
Yes.
We're 72, and we have 160,000. And then if we add what? What is it, 9 we're adding here?
Yes.
82.
So 9 plus 45 is how much?
54.
45 plus 9.
Oh, 54. I think we're over
54.
We're 54. Okay, we go inside the new guy. All right, so as you can see, interest is so important, you see? Now, which amount of interest would you like to be earning here?
9%.
You want to earn the 9%, right? Because as you can see, even at your young ages, it's going to take, 18 years, you see, for this money to double. But again, see, you're young enough, you see, to withstand the fluctuations, you see, that's within the market, you see. So at 9%, it only takes the money, what, 9 years to double, as opposed to 18 years and as opposed to 12 years. But again, it depends on the amount of interest, you know, that the money is able to generate. Yes.
So the bottom line is you have to have good interest to get more money.
Well, yeah, of course, the higher the rate of interest, you know, but again, sometimes the higher rate of interest means that you're taking what?
A risk.
More risk. So you wanna, that's why you wanna kind of diversify your risk. Have so much of the money in this basket, so much in that basket, and so much in this basket. Never put it all, you see, in the same basket. Like some of the folks that work for this old company called Intern. This one person I remember who was retired, he had $1.8 million in his retirement. And that particular company, of course, in retirement, he would have been in a very, very good living. But the company went, what? Bankrupt. And his retirement, instead of $1.9 million, guess how much money he ended up with?
Zero.
About $250,000. That meaning that he had to get another job because he could no longer live on that $250,000, because that would not last him very long, you see, because his cost of living, and just to maintain his living, he needed roughly about $45,000 a year to $65,000 a year just to exist. So he would eat up that $250,000 in no time. So he had to get another job. So see, he had all of his money, all of his investment, all of his retirement invested in his company, because his company was doing very, very good. But no matter how good your company is doing, you never put all of your eggs in, or all of your investment you see in that one company, because you never know what might not happen, right? Because we're seeing what's happening, you know, today. So you want to make sure that you do what? We said diversification. And what is diversification? Yes.
It's like don't put all your money in faith of this one company.
That's right. You're spreading it around, right? We're spreading it around, so you make sure that you know you don't end up losing your entire investment. You want to invest so much here, and in different kinds of things. Perhaps so much in real estate, you know, so much in perhaps a mutual fund, and so much maybe you might want to go in even in metals. You know, you might put so much in bond fund, so much in stock fund, so much in this. So you want to make sure that it's very diversified. And it depends, of course, what kind of investor you are, but you want to make sure that you don't want to take a whole lot of risk, because sometimes investors are greedy and they want a big return, so they'll take more risk, and sometimes you run a risk of losing everything. Okay, so again, this is called the rule of 72, and it basically tells you how long it will take money to double. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, yes.
Where's the bathroom?
What's that? What was that?
Where's the bathroom?
Oh, yeah, it's outside the door. Okay, we're going to be leaving in just a minute. If you can just hold can you hold just a sec?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because we're going to see if I was hoping the council might be, we can kind of go through one department. But anyhow, don't forget to bring the workbook back, bring the workbook back next week. You need to bring all this material back. We're going to go over more depth and interest. Yeah, everything that's given you want to bring back. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, we have one on this floor, yes.
Oh, I have another question about the application. Are we doing this stuff, or this stuff we're just gonna learn about? Like where it says new career in multimedia entertainment?
Yeah, we're gonna have someone who have that kind of company. They're gonna come by and talk to you about that and talk to you about the opportunities in that. So that's gonna be one of our speakers, and we're gonna try and see if we can work out that we can even go by and visit their facilities. They're not that far away. They're right here locally in Richmond. Yes.
Is it true at the end of this thing, are you gonna get to see the mayor?
Oh yeah, it'll be before this. It'll be before this. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Yeah, we have about at least 4 or 5 departments. 4 or 5 departments. What was that? 4 or 5 departments. Okay, come on, make sure you're ready. Come on.
What he said?
So you drank too much soda. Right, that's right.
It's all good. I can wait.
Just 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, let me know.
Go when you're ready.
Okay. Again, you know, I want to thank everyone for coming, and I think it's been a pretty good session. Did anyone have you learned something today that you didn't know before?
Yes.
Okay, we know what a bond is, we know what stock is, we know what interest is, and we know what rule of 72 is, right? How long it's gonna take money to double. So again, we're gonna meet back here next week. So you just come up to the 9th floor, and we're gonna go over material that we didn't really go in depth today. Okay? All right. See you next week.
So tomorrow we meet up here instead of
Next Thursday.
I mean,
Yeah, every Thursday we will meet here. Every
In this
Thursday.
same room?
Yeah, in this room. Yes.
Can I switch your chair next Thursday? Because this one keep making noise.
Okay, we'll get you a better chair. Okay. All right.